I mean, I don't know why it's in particular this series that you guys seem to absolutely love the most out of all my videos, but the AFL way too early trade rumors and speculation, all that type of stuff, you guys seem to absolutely love. And look, I don't know why, it's just a chubby 5'8" fat kid talking shit in front of a camera, but you know what? If you guys continue to fucking watch them, I'll continue to pump them out. And that's why we're here today, because there is a lot to talk about. Again, if you're a Port Adelaide fan, I mean, I don't know how they do it every year, but there's always like, every year comes around, it seems like they have no draft picks, absolutely nothing going on. And then all of a sudden, like 2 months later, they're interested in fucking 298 players. And this year is obviously no different, with reports saying they are basically interested in the whole entire GWS list. I think it was like Perryman was one of the guys they were interested in. Then there's even been reports out there saying they've been keeping their eyes on Cozzy Pickett at Melbourne. Again, that's been reported for like 3 years now. I'm pretty sure he literally just re-signed last year. But we know in today's AFL, that means absolutely nothing. And again, there is another report here that does suggest, fucking hell, I can't even speak. I'm like having a cardiac arrest on camera. A report here that does say that Joe Richards has been offered a 4-year deal by the Power. 4 years for a guy who's only played one season. Has been literally in the league for one season. He's already gotten a 4-year deal by the Port Adelaide Power. And look, I will say I kind of recommend the Power to do this, because I will admit that Joe Richards has single-handedly helped me touch some of my friends without consent on Supercoach. So I'm very happy that Joe Richards helped me do that. And look, most players after their first season in the AFL might be very lucky to get a 2-year extension, right? Then there's some of the like top 10 picked players who will literally get themselves a 3-year extension by the club. I think there's only been a couple players in like recent memory that have been offered like massive 4-year plus deals from other clubs to go to their team after like year one. I think Port Adelaide were the last team to do this. They did it with Jason Horne-Francis. I think they gave him like a 6-year deal to get out of North. And then GWS, I think they trade Tom Boyd to the Dogs, where the Dogs signed him for 7 years, $7 million, which was like the third biggest contract back then. An absolute crazy signing that will go down in AFL history to this day. And it looks like Joe Richards is a part of this group now, which is really interesting, because his skill is clearly not to what the other players were that were offered these kind of deals before him. But the thing is, and why I think Port Adelaide really like Joe Richards, is that this is not a 20 to 21 year old random guy they have been, you know, they're offering, who could absolutely shit the bed any second and turn into, you know, some bum, right? Joe Richards is semi-proven, because you're looking at a 24-year-old guy who's been literally doubling his play every single year for the past 2 or so years, and then making his way into the AFL, where he's played for Collingwood and has come out and again actually surprised a lot of people. Again, I think he was originally touted just to be this small forward who was going to come in and add some pressure and maybe kick a goal or two a game. But he's actually found himself being a really good player who has been able to move up the ground like a really good high half forward, who I low-key feel like, maybe given some time as well, could become a decent wingman in the AFL. And I think Port could also be looking at that, but they're definitely looking to add to their forward depth and add a guy who can come in and not only work his way up the ground, but go back, add pressure, and kick a goal or two. So I don't think there's any way Collingwood can match this. I mean, what club has ever re-signed a player after like their first year for 4 years? It's like never really been done before. It's only teams that like trade for players that do this. And I don't necessarily know if Collingwood were even thinking about doing this. They were probably thinking 1 to 2 year extension, probably 2 years, obviously. And then Port have just come out and offered fucking a lifetime supply right there. So yeah, this kind of sucks for Collingwood fans, because in reality, he's probably going to leave the team. And if it turns into a trade or whatever, I don't even know what Port Adelaide can give them, because they never really have too much, and the working arounds of him requesting a trade or leaving, I don't think it should be too hard for him to get across, and it's probably going to be an offer that Collingwood can not only not match, but probably not going to have too much leeway in the trade. So it sucks for Collingwood. I mean, they found this really nice player who is a mature age recruit who's probably going to head into his prime very, very shortly already, who is literally going to leave them like straight away and go to another contending team. But again, you can't really blame the guy because, I mean, if I was offered fucking 4 years to go to Port Adelaide, even if the only thing to do in Adelaide is go to church, fuck, I'm going, bro. I'm there. Again, there's more Port rumours going out right now, being suggested by Cal Toomey that the Blues are interested in Dan Houston. Again, this is going to become a very, very sticky situation because the reality is he has like 4 years left, and it's not like the Daniel Rioli situation where it would benefit Richmond to trade Rioli on that 4-year deal. This doesn't really benefit Port Adelaide too much besides clearing cap to maybe sign any of the other guys. But at the end of the day, they can always backpedal and be like, we withdraw one of our contracts to like Perryman or something and just keep Houston. It doesn't affect them too much. But the thing is, they want the 2 first-round picks, and clearing salary wouldn't be the worst idea. It's just, who is going to be able to trade for Dan Houston? I don't see a way where Carlton can really do this, because from what we've heard, they are the most tight team in the AFL when it comes to their salary cap. So how they go about this, I legitimately have no idea, unless like a Patrick Cripps or someone takes some sort of restructure of a pay cut or whatever it might be. I don't know. We're getting into some fucking NFL terminology there of restructures. Again, it was said that Melbourne were the team that were interested in Houston. He was interested in them, and then he's kind of backed out since all of the Petracca situation has happened. And if you don't know about the Petracca situation, it is being said that Christian Petracca is feeling unhappy and disgruntled with the direction of the Demons despite 5 years left to run on his contract per 9 news. I think it was Cal Toomey also said that, I think it was Tom Morris actually, said that if he was out of contract today, he would literally be requesting a trade, which is kind of fucked up to think. But Petracca and Houston find themselves in that same situation where the teams who do have salary cap now in Melbourne are like really just Richmond is like the big one, probably going to have a bunch of salary, and they're wanting to completely start a new rebuild and go way forward with that. Again, St Kilda are a team who's going to have 2 top 10 picks. I don't think they're going to be interested in Houston though. They've got some good halfback services there. They're not going to go for that, and I don't think they're going to have the capital to want to go for Petracca, and they're probably going to want to go the cheaper route. So this is a very weird thing for Christian Petracca and Dan Houston. I think a lot of the Petracca rumours are quite frankly bullshit, and I think he's easily going to stay a Demon without a question. But Dan Houston, I legitimately don't fucking know what team he is going to end up on. It really does confuse me, and if Carlton do it, they're probably going to go over the fucking salary cap like they did like 15 or 20 years ago. And then obviously the big one, the one we kind of all knew was coming, is that Richmond Shai Bolton sort of requested a trade back home to WA. It was said by John Ralph. Again, this is really interesting because Tom Morris put out a report afterwards saying an unexpected twist in the Shai Bolton trade discussion. His manager and Richmond FC have both denied that he has requested a trade. Doesn't mean he won't do so. Shai Bolton has not requested a trade. We have had some ongoing discussions with Richmond throughout the season where he was indicated that he would be open to the idea of returning home to Perth if a suitable deal can be struck that benefits all parties involved. With a young family and strong ties to Perth, the prospect of being closer to home is appealing to him. However, Shai is not making any demands of Richmond and fully understands that he has 4 years remaining in his current contract. Again, we know that Shai Bolton is 99% going to be traded from the Tigers. I mean, whether he has requested a trade or hasn't, it doesn't matter because internally he would have been telling them if there's a way, send me there. Again, this will become public if it hasn't already at the time of making this video. It's legitimately only a matter of time, and the reality is Richmond are going to be, they're going to be flogs about this, but also flogs in a good way. They are realizing that this man is a 4-year contracted player. They might be like a flog to Shai Bolton because he wants to go back for family, but they are going to absolutely try and do everything to, I would say, bargain with Fremantle to get absolutely the best possible outcome for this picks. Again, right now I think Freo have 9, 10, and 17, but that's going to become literally 11 and 12 because they're going to be an academy player and the Josh Battle compensation in the top 10. It's going to be like 11, 12, and 19. And Richmond are probably going to be asking for that 11 or 12. Freo are going to decline it, and then it's going to be this big merry-go-round of what do we go and do about this? Again, I've even heard a rumor saying online that Freo could offer up 11 and a future first, and Richmond would be happy with that. That would be basically Freo banking that they're going to be better next year and have a better pick, but also Richmond being like, we get some more capital into next year's draft as well. I mean, that's the situation. I don't know how they're going to go about this, but yeah, I think Shai Bolton becomes a Fremantle Docker very, very shortly. But of course, if you haven't already, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below. Who do you guys think is going to be traded? Who do you guys think is going to be leaving? All that type of stuff. Don't forget to subscribe to my IRL/vlogging channel and my gaming channel. Links for them will be in the description down below. And I guess I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.